definitely. So we're going to go ahead and get started, everyone. First of all, I just want to thank you guys for joining me. Thank you for just being a part. And, we've got some juicy conversation tonight with Zina. And I'll tell you how I met Zina. Zina and I met. It's so funny how Zina and I met because Zina and I met before we realized that we met.
Right. We didn't even know. We didn't know.
And so, Zina and I we're in this tribe or this community together. We're even in a whole class together. And one day, hey, Delise, and one day, I'm looking at, I'm on this conference, the Extraordinary You conference with Lisa Nichols, and I'm looking at Zina. I'm thinking, boy, she looks really familiar. And then it turns out that on a coaching call, Zina's on the coaching call, and I'm talking to Zina, says, "Hey, Esther," and I'm like, "Zina," and it's like we were together the night. It was just so funny, and so ever since then, it's just been a wonderful. I like to call those God connections, paga moments. You know what I mean? And then Zina just has a wonderful testimony. Hey, Delise, type in where you are right now. She's got this wonderful testimony, this wonderful story, let's say, that is just going to empower you. So I don't want to take up a lot of time because I want Zina to begin to just share with us whatever is on her heart to share. And guys, listen, I don't want you just to listen, but I do want you to comment if you've got questions, because I'm going to be reading them and I'll stop and say, hey, Zina, somebody's saying this, somebody's saying that. And so because she's got a powerful story I call it a story of recovery. I'm not sure what she's going to call it, but she's her story, guys, and it's juicy conversation. So everyone, here is Zina.
Oh, thank you. And again, I offer my condolences for your mom, and yes, we do understand, those of us who are believers do understand that we will get the opportunity to see them again, and that they are in the, not a better place, the absolute best place, and that, the whole surety of getting here is the certainty that we are going there. So, my heart goes out to you, and I appreciate that you are honoring the people who follow you by keeping your appointment for today, because this certainly would have been reason enough, and I'm sure your tribe, your followers would have been more than gracious enough to allow you the time to go to not be here today. And so just to be here means a lot for them as well. So I honor you for that. My story is a story of recovery, but because I do have 32 years sober.
Yay!
And I am
to celebrate.
I am sober. And I am sober through the rooms of the anonymous programs. But I understand that is not the only way. And my life didn't begin at sobriety, and it didn't end at drug and alcohol use. There's so much about who I am today that is connected to how I got on this journey before I was even born into this world, the legacy that I come from. And so I'm not sure, there's so many facets, there is my recovery story, there is my journey with business, there is my journey with self-esteem, with depression, there is my journey with nervous breakdowns and emotional devaluing of myself, not being able to look in the mirror and see through God's eyes who I truly am, and only seeing myself through the limited beliefs of who I thought I should be and how I never could measure up to that, and all of those plateaus that I thought I should be on that I would never be able to reach. There's a story of the fact that I raised 5 children by myself, 5 children, 3 fathers. I have no shame about that. The people that I have birthed into the world, oh my goodness, the ripple effect on their lives alone, who they are in the world and how they affect others. When they were little, I shared with all 5 of my kids, 2 boys and 3 girls. The youngest is 34, the oldest is 41. The things I used to share with them is we have many challenges, and that might happen to you as well. And I need you to understand you cannot be discouraged, because every challenge that you experience will become a tool of freedom that you will offer someone who walks into your path, who has been especially assigned to who you are as a human being, because you're a purpose. You were birthed on this earth with purpose, and you were birthed with that purpose, and the journey it takes for you to find out what that purpose is and how to operate in that purpose, and how to build a life that will allow that purpose to sustain you and motivate you and to serve others. All of that will be the tools that you use to share. So, don't be disconcerted when it get rough.
Yeah.
I used to tell them, and they didn't understand then. And with children, you have to tell them repeatedly sometimes, there's a target on your back. And it's not from any man, woman, or child here on earth. The enemy is out to get you, because the purpose that God birthed in your DNA,
Come on.
the enemy does not want you to find out who you are and what you can do. The enemy will fight to the death to get you to remain shielded from the truth of the power that you carry.
Yeah.
So don't be dismayed, but in my humanity, it's still hard.
Yeah.
It still hurts my heart when I had to watch them struggle. And there were times when my support system would have to remind me, Zina, you knew what their lives would be like. You knew what your life would be like.
Yeah.
You knew why. Don't trip, because you also know the end of the story. We win.
Yeah.
In the end because the battle that we fight day to day, not only is not my battle, but it's already won. I don't have to spend my life fighting that battle. That battle's already won. And so, I don't know what aspect of my life you'd like to hear, because there's so many different directions I could go.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's so many. I mean, I just think that all of your stories are just so powerful. And I think what I love about all of your stories is that at the end, it's like you said, we win. And so on the journey, you don't get discouraged. You keep moving forward. You may fail, but you fail forward.
Yeah, you fail.
Things happen in life. And I think, Zina, that you're an excellent example of the journey of, listen, yes, I went through all of this, but I'm here and I'm moving forward, and look at me, look at my life now. One of the things that you said to me, and maybe that's where you could start, on Saturday when we were talking, you said, when I was thanking you for calling me, you said, this is my superpower. So let's talk about, tell us what your superpower is, because honestly, we all need to know, as we're looking and as we're thinking about, what are we called to do? What were we created to do? What is our destiny? How should we walk? Do you understand what I mean? That there's power in us, and we've got the power to achieve so much, but we have to realize that power, because many of us, we don't realize it. We talk about it, but we really don't live it out.
Right.
And I love what you said, because many of us think it's all women today. I don't see any men as yet online, but we're super women. What's your superpower, Zina?
My superpower is I see the light. I see the light. I can point to the light in any darkness. And I can see light when there is no light visible to anyone else. And what that looks like in a practical sense is, no matter what you present me with, as far as a situation, whether it's life, death, the addiction, loss of a child, loss of a business, a loss of millions, loss of your own mind, loss of a spouse, abuse, trauma, crisis, chaos. No matter what darkness you walk in, no matter what if your path leads you to across the table from me, before we are done, I will show you the light. And it took me a while to understand the value in that. You know, it comes so naturally, and it comes like second nature. So because it came so easy, you know, my mama used to say, you will not value what comes easy to you. And because that ability came so easy and was so second nature to me, I did not place value on it. So when people would try to share with me the value that they got from my presence in their life, I'm like, I can't make money with that. I can't live with that. I'm so grateful, and I'm so glad that you have been able to have value in what I brought you, but I will never be able to build a business with that.
Yeah.
You know, I must work in jobs and industries that I have no interest in and have no desire to be in, because I have a family I must feed. And so when God puts something in you, he will not be denied. He will not be denied. He will not be, he don't care. He do not care if you don't know. It's like, I told you, you ignored me. I'm going to tell you again. You're going to act like you can't hear me. I'm going to tell you some more. I used to tell people, you know, God almost had to snatch me by the ponytail and drag me backwards into my blessings. Because if he told me outright that I was fixing to be blessed, I would take off running in the opposite direction. You know, but as a result of continuing to wake up.
Yeah.
At every sleeping point in my life, I always found myself at a waking point. Yeah. And at every time I woke up, I had a little more awareness and a little more awareness. And finally, a few years back, I'm like, okay, I surrender. I get it. I bring something, and the only way I'm gonna find out what it is if I agree to actually do it. Yeah. And you said this is mine. You said this is what you would have me do. Then okay, I request that you gracefully please explain to me how, Lord. Yeah. How do I pull this off?
There's three things really that you said that is really important. That one, you said I surrender, and then you said that you had to become in agreement with him. See, God, what people sometimes, well, all of us sometimes don't realize is that he's a gentleman. So he's not going to push himself on us. And the bottom line is that we, number one, have to surrender to him, right? If we're really going to walk fully in our destiny. I don't mean partially. I mean fully, to where, man, listen, that's your superpower. That's your greatness. And so I'm just going to do it, whatever that is. And then the two is be in agreement with him. So it's so necessary. Someone would say, well, how in agreement with God? Yes. You know, when we're in agreement, that's why he said, come and let us reason together.
Right,
you know,
right.
Let's be in agreement. And when we're in agreement with the plan of God for us, then there's really nothing that we won't be able to handle. Let's say it's not that, oh, things are going to be just so great, like you said. Yeah, you're going to have obstacles. You're going to have haters. You're going to have things that are coming your way because to stop your success. But when you know that you're in agreement with God, when you know that he is leading you and he's guiding you, then you can continue to walk that out. You can step into your purpose and you could rise to your destiny. You understand? Right. Because we all go through various seasons of purpose. There's different purpose that we have in our lives. And what happens is that when we surrender and when we're there, we have to realize what that season is. Right.
And I want to go back just a tad, because you said something that I've been saying for years, and that is that God is a gentleman.
Yeah.
He's a gentleman, and he has already offered all that we want, need, and desire. Yeah. He's offered it, but he will not force it upon us, and he will not come except by invitation.
Except by invitation.
Just because he can doesn't mean that he will, and he will not.
Yeah.
Except by invitation. And that agreement that you're talking about, that being in alignment, that is my invitation. That is the ask that I am responsible to do. Because my ask says to God that I am willing to go to the lengths that I will have to go to get done what he would have me to do. Yeah. That ask is me saying to God in my humanity that I believe you, I trust you. My grandmother used to say, I can't remember the beginning of this song, but at one point it says, and I told you to run on. It's like, I gave you the gift and I told you to run on. You know, it's like, it's that same thing. When I ask God, that is God's indicator that I have now come into the knowledge that I am operating in my humanity under his covering to do what he would ask me to do. And if I do that with full commitment and agreement, I will find fulfillment for the God-sized hole I've been trying to fill with everything except God.
Yeah.
All my
Yeah, that's so true. With everything except God.
Except God.
God. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I remember my mom when we would have, especially, you know, going to see her and would sit and talk to her, and she would just talk about the importance of doing and walking in the will of God and the purpose that he has for you. And I think sometimes we run away from that, I guess maybe because we're scared. You know?
I think it's fear is one, but I think uncertainty is another. You know, my grandmother was my pastor.
Yeah.
And so I can't say I didn't understand.
Yeah.
Because she wasn't just the pastor to me. She was the pastor to all my cousins, all my aunties. She was the pastor to her own sisters and brothers, my mama. She was all of our pastor. And I was the only one that wound up in the rules of recovery in direct response to drugs and alcohol.
Yeah.
It wasn't the rest of my family. So I can't say I wasn't taught. I can't say I didn't listen.
Yeah.
I can't say I didn't understand.
Yeah.
I can't say that I misperceived the lessons that were trying to be taught to me. And when I was finally convinced that I could not get it right, I was more content with just doing it wrong. Because I figured, you know, I'm not going to get this right. I'm going to live the life I want to live because I'm not going to make it where everybody else is going anyway.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm sure God just chuckled at me and my little small-minded self. It's like, she's so simple. No matter which direction you choose, he'll meet you wherever you at.
Wherever you are.
He won't be denied. He won't be denied. And so, you know, and God met me. He met me in the detox unit. And he met me at the crack table, to be honest. It was well before I got recovery. He met me at the table with a plate full of drugs and a room full of people. And I could hear him just as clear as I can hear you and me.
Yeah.
And he said, I have sent you to gather the people and tell them who I am. And then he stopped talking.
That's
now,
it.
I'm high. You know, I thought I was having illusions. Illusions. Y'all hear that? You know, and what I have found in the 32 years that I've been in recovery, because there was a process for me to get to the place where I sought out help, because I had tried some things on my own. I couldn't pull it off. I tried being baptized. I tried going to the church. I tried praying about it. I tried singing church songs. I tried a lot of things that did not work for me.
Right.
And so I went into a detox unit. I got sober through a detox unit. I left that detox unit after 10 days and went into a residential recovery program. I stayed in that program for 90 days. I came out of that program and started attending recovery meetings. And I began to practice the 12 steps of recovery. And everything about the 12 steps felt doable for me because it was a whole lot like the Bible without all the judgment. And I was like, oh, that sounds just like what my grandmother used to say. Oh, that sounds like what so I could handle that. I could swallow that.
Yeah.
Today, what I understand is God will talk to you in whatever language you will listen to. If you will not speak the language that he has been speaking, he will speak the language that you are speaking so that you can hear. Because his whole goal is that you hear.
Yeah.
So that get in alignment by any means necessary. The message is the same. Go tell them who I am and how to get to me.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
my whole purpose.
Yeah.
So,
I love to, yeah, what you're saying is that because you said you went to church, you prayed, you did all these things, but you needed more. And it's not that praying didn't work. It's not that singing the church, you understand? So, but sometimes we just need a little bit more. So, yeah, you couldn't hear. And so what had to happen is you had to take another action, and then that couples really with your faith with and many times that's where God comes in, as he did, to help us. I think that's why it's so important that you get, if you need to go to a detox, that you go there. If you need a personal development coach, that you do that. If you need, to go to a therapist, that you do that. In other words, you do what's necessary for you to do so you can become the woman or the man of God that God has really called you to be, so you could fully step in to your purpose or your destiny. Yeah. So I love it that you had to go so then you could hear.
yeah, I had to go so that I can hear him. And when I got there, I think I was maybe 10 or maybe 12. You know what? It had to be between 8 and 10 years of sobriety that it occurred to me that my children did not know anything more about God except the way that I taught them to pray over their food and to say their prayers at night.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that prayer got me to the places of help. And I was like, I need to teach them more, but I don't know enough to give them. Like, what? And I said, oh, Lord, I'm going to have to go back to church just to get my kids introduced to what saved my life.
Yeah.
And so I prayed, a practice I learned in recovery, because I had stopped doing it until I was in desperate state at the end. But I prayed and I asked God, I said, guide me to the place that will teach my children about who you are. And so I re-entered the church environment, but I had skepticism and I had judgment. I was scarred by my childhood understanding and belief systems that had been set up by me, that nobody imposed on me. Yeah. And however, recovery had given me a voice that I was unfamiliar with.
Yeah.
It had given me a system by which I went in this time, and I knew how to navigate through the church. What do you call it? The criteria?
Yeah.
And appropriately.
Right.
Not,
right.
It's, and in the fellowship there are 3. There's AA. There's Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, Cocaine Anonymous. There's different criteria for each.
Yeah.
And the expectation is that if the same with me, if you're in my house, please follow the rules of my house.
Yes.
They don't have to be your belief, but do respect the rules of my house, and I will do the same. And just from that premise alone, I knew how to go into the church.
Yeah.
And I knew how to find the usher or deacon or mother of the church or the nearest person to the business office to ask, what is the process by which I can get an appointment to sit with the pastor? I learned it. Following orders, discipline, being in order. And I was able to ask questions. I was able to identify where's the safe space where I can speak freely about the things that I struggle with, and the reason why I'm uncomfortable in the church, because I don't desire to have division. I desire to have understanding, because I'm trying to nurture my vertical relationship with God, and I don't want to have a divisive relationship with the church or religion as I'm trying to nurture this relationship with God. And
there is a difference. Religion and the relationship with God. There is a difference.
Very, very different. Very different. So today, I don't want to go into a whole bunch, because that book has not been written, as a matter of fact. But, today I'm a licensed minister. I've been licensed since 2000.
Look at you.
I've been licensed since I did 3 years of seminary myself, and then I was the executive assistant to my bishop in his seminary school for the next 4 years after that. And so, but I don't operate in that office.
Yeah.
That is just one of the tools in my tool belt. I come very much in my humanity, because what I discovered is the light that I carry is meant to go in the dark. The church is lit. It doesn't need me there.
Yeah.
I'm needed in the street.
Yeah.
Where the street is not intimidated by the way that I walk, the way that I talk, and the way that I engage. They will receive me because I don't come with judgment. I don't come with a Bible under my arm. I come properly armed with scripture, but they don't know.
Yeah.
It's a secret until one of them bring it up.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So,
the message is the same, but the method changes. And so, if we're to go ye into all the world, this is, so we have to be prepared to do it. And, and what Zina said is that, she made sure that she got help, whatever, you have to make sure that you get help. So she made that appointment, keyword, in a safe space. A safe space to where you can just go through and just really be clean and be cleansed, and you could really talk and just really get out, what is it that you need. And I love that you said a safe space, because we have to find a safe space to where we can be taught the tools that we need to be emotionally well, mentally well, spiritually well, physically well, all of it.
But it's a process, and I think a lot of people that have negative experiences in a church environment, it's because they have a negative experience in a church environment, and then they want to define all of religion by this one experience.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. That's true, and that's it. And here's the other piece. We forget that people are people no matter what. And so,
everywhere.
So take your eyes off of the people.
Who was it? Someone said they were giving an analogy of a woman who was in the church, and she kept telling the pastor, I'm not going to come back here no more because sister so-and-so is doing this and brother so-and-so is doing that. And he said, do me a favor. Before you leave the church, do me a favor. On the first Sunday, I want you to carry, he gave her a cup of water, very, very full. You carry this cup of water, and I want you to keep your eye on this cup, and please don't spill it. Just during it was first Sunday, just during communion, I want you to keep your eye on this cup. And at the end, and she did it successfully. And at the end of communion, one of his armor bearers came and relieved her of the cup. And so at their next meeting, he asked her, did he notice what sister so-and-so was doing? And she was like, I didn't see sister so-and-so. And he asked her, well, did you notice what brother so-and-so was doing? She said, I didn't even notice brother so-and-so. And he said, what did you do all service? She said, I kept my eye on that cup. He said, exactly. If you will keep your eye stayed on the Lord, you will not notice the business that don't have nothing to do with you. Yeah. And that is like when I am paying attention to what God would have me do, the only time I will recognize another light bearer struggling in my environment is when I am called to that light bearer to assist.
Yeah.
That's it. If I notice your struggle, it's because I've been called to help. Not called to judge, not called to gossip, not called to laugh, mock, or ridicule. If I see, that means I've been called to help. And I need to operate in that assistance mode only.
Yeah, that's superpower. Yeah, that's good. So we've got a lot of good comments. Speak it, Sister Zina. Amen. Congratulations. Dr. Delise said congratulations. A lot of congratulations. Val said this is powerful. Amen. Yes. This is powerful conversation. So what we want to do real quick is if you have any questions, Please try it in your question. Sonia said, yes, I tried therapy with my faith and relationship with God. It took a godly, practical, personal coach to help me find myself again. Yay. All right, Sonia. Yeah. Listen, guys, I got a plug. Sometimes you just need to go ahead and get a personal coach.
That's it. That's it.
You just to help you break through some things. I say that Zina did it, right? And so sometimes that's just what you got to do. And so if we ever, what for me, I will be 60. And I have to live out my life walking in full purpose of God, what God wants me to walk in and what He has called me to do. And if He called me just to sit at home, I still want to do that in full purpose. But I can't do, but I can't do anything in full purpose if I've got all these issues, not necessarily, but things inside of me. If I don't know who I really am, if I'm not really experiencing joy, if I don't feel good about who I am, and if I'm still living in the past, if I'm still dealing with hurt and unforgiveness and all of these different things. You're about to say something, Zina.
Yeah, I wanted to just speak to that for a moment. I don't even know what our time looks like or what I need to be mindful.
We got a few more minutes. We're already over time, so go ahead.
Oh my God!
Nobody has left, so it's okay.
Thank you guys for hanging with us, because I'm telling you, this is God inspired. But I want to tell you what I learned about my belief systems. I learned that I had experiences as a young child. As a young child, I had experiences, and with that child's mind, I made some decisions about what would never, ever, ever happen to me again.
Yes.
And those decisions would be rooted in my spirit. And I would begin to operate from those belief systems from an unconscious place. And as an adult, I would respond to triggering events, not even knowing that I was reverting back to my childlike beliefs, thinking I was operating as an adult.
Yeah.
In elementary school, I couldn't play baseball. I would never get picked for the team. And I do mean elementary school. And I remember making the decision at one time, it was the last two, and the two coaches said, well, they picked the other person, and then they began to fight because neither wanted to pick me. It was like, you take Zina, no, you take Zina, no, you take Zina. And while I stood there, a kid on the playground, I said in my mind, I said, I will never put myself in the position to not be picked. Now, I didn't know that I made a conscious decision to operate, that I would begin to operate from that moment until I got to recovery at the age of 28 years old. And at the age of 28 years old in recovery, in this residential program, we had to have playtime, is what they called it. And they wanted us to play baseball. I chose to pack my things and leave. Because I didn't even make the association that I was leaving because of the little girl that was hurt in elementary school.
Yeah.
My body had a physical response. I felt nauseous. I had a headache. I thought I was having heat stroke, and nobody cared. And I decided to leave. What I found out from working the steps is that I had set up that belief system so tough that I began to operate from it subconsciously as an adult. And I was making what looked like adult decisions from my child life, my child experience that I never addressed.
Yeah.
I've done enough work in recovery to uncover, discover, and discard enough where I was able to look myself in the mirror and see myself for the adult that I am, and identify when I was operating as a child and needed to just nurture the little girl inside and move on.
Yeah.
I was able to do that long enough until I had enough worth about me to seek out coaching.
Yeah.
But my level of worth had to raise, and I had to go through the process that I had to go through to get to the place where my consciousness raised, my worth raised, what I knew I deserved and what I knew was for me raised. And I understood the power of asking for help.
Yeah.
And so at the level I'm at today, I'm so excited that the help that I'm asking for in my coaching experiences is built around abundance and greaterness.
Yeah.
And all the trauma that I had to come through to get to that place of self-worth, self-value.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to, if you're operating from a stuckness,
Yes. Yeah.
you may not be able to pinpoint where that began.
Yeah.
But I'll point to the light in any dark place.
Yeah, and this is good because Sonia, when she's saying it took a godly, practical, personal coach to help me see him. That's me she's talking about, because we went back. Because what happens is, all of us, and sometimes we don't realize it. That's why I put in Yana, you're not alone. Way back from when we were kids, because we're programmed from when we are children, either by the choices we made or choices that was made for us. And
right.
many times we don't know that we're reacting to things from our unconscious mind, things that happen, and we're carrying it out in the conscious mind. Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
So,
it's just like when you have a sore. I don't mean to cut you off. When you have a cut.
Yeah.
The skin is designed to scab over. It is designed to scab over, but the flesh underneath that scab is not always in its healthiest condition.
Yeah.
And if you have an open wound and it scabs over before the flesh has a chance to be treated for infection, what you'll have is a scabbed wound that is full of infection. You have to rip that scab off and start from scratch to treat the flesh beneath, so that you can have a healthy healing and a healthy scab, so that it can close properly, because the body is designed to take care of itself. And it's the same with my childhood. I had to go back, and it was not always easy. I had to go back. I had to look. I had to take a hard look at the ugly truth about who I was and why I was that, and how I became that.
Yeah. Do that deep dive.
Right.
Yeah.
So that my healing could be complete, because I looked healed and whole because I was scabbed over. Nobody could see that there was an infection underneath my scabbing.
Yeah.
And
Valerie said renewal of the mind. Exactly. The renewal of the mind. But many times we cannot get to the renewal of the total mind until we go back to our childhood.
Right.
To our little girls or that little boy, and see what happened. And sometimes it's scary to go back there, but you can really, once you make that decision and you have someone to guide you through, you could go back there and pull it from the root to say, that's why I act. That's why, because of this. And then you could pull it from the root and move forward. Yeah,
that's right.
Powerful conversation. So as we begin to close, guys, Zina wrote a book, and I want you, Zina, to give your book information. Val, if you could type Zina's book information, you can get it on Amazon. Can you also get it from your website, Zina?
Yes, you get my life essentials, everything, because my coaching business is new since last year. I'm building. Yes, the book is available there, but I would suggest Amazon first.
Okay.
By the end of this month, there'll be some changes so that it won't be so difficult to access products that I have available now and what's coming available in the next few weeks. So, but my book is Life in the Fast Lane, A Journey Back to Myself.
I love it.
By Zina Letrece. It is available in paperback and also a Kindle edition. And my website is lifeessentialswithzinalatrece.com.
All right. Check about Life Essentials with ZinaLatrece.com. And of course, you can get her book on Amazon.com. And the name of the book again is, and I'll type it in too,
Life in the Fast Lane.
Life in the Fast Lane.
Colon, this to two dots. A Journey Back to Myself.
I like that. You got it, a journey back to myself. Yes. I love it. So I want to encourage you to get Zina's book. right? And by Zina Letrece. Okay,
Yes.
guys. So encourage you to go on Amazon.com. And guys, don't forget, I also have my book, Why Stepping into Purpose, is also available on Amazon.com. And you could also, Valerie's asking, what's your website again, Zina, so she can type it in.
The website is Life Essentials with ZinaLatrece.com.
Life Essentials with ZinaLatrece.com, right? Great.
Yes.
So you can go on Amazon for her book. You can go on Amazon for my book. And you could also get my book on www.fddwomen.com. And can I tell you, listen, even if you're saying, well, I don't know if I need this book, but you may have a friend that does need the book. And with both books, they talk about several things that can help place you on I'd like to say a path to success, or really a path to leveling up. Does that sound right? To
Yes.
up level, to up level. Let's put it that way. And so I just want to encourage you guys to get it. Listen, this is the year of 2020. I know that we're in COVID-19. There's so many things going on. We've got challenges and pain points, but this is also the year of pivoting. This is the year of blessings, right? This is the year where you can really discover who you are. This is the year that you can discover the path that God has planned out from the day you were born to walk in. This is the year that you can discover how great you are,
Right.
because there is greatness inside of you.
Right.
And if you're in a place where you don't want to be, you don't have to remain there.
Right.
You do not have to remain there. Remember that you always have a choice. You always have a choice. And so make the choice for you.
Right.
Make the choice for you. Because until you serve you, you really can't serve others well.
Right.
I love what Lisa Nichols says, right? That you've got to serve from your overflow, right? Fill your cup first. Make sure you're doing well first, and then serve from that overflow. We sing that song many times in church. Fill my cup, Lord. Fill it up, Lord, right? I think, it's an old song. I haven't sung that in a while. You remember that song, Zina? That's like really dating yourself, That's back in the day when they pulled the hymnals out. When you're sitting there at the child because your parents made you go to church, and you better look like you liked it.
You better look like you like it.
You better look like you enjoyed it. I can remember sitting with my mom, and you better yeah. Him. Ashley says from Winans. Yeah. And so, but that's what it is, just fill in your cup so you can serve others. Then you could be that better mother, wife, sister, brother, whatever, business person, career person. You could just be better. So thank you, Zina, for coming on. This was juicy conversation. Everyone has remained on. I know that people are going to look at the replay. We're going to share it out. Thank you so much. I love you. I appreciate you so much. I do. This has just been awesome. So guys, let's give Zina some love. Heart her up in the comments, and just let her know that you appreciate her, that you love her. Zina has only did what they say, the tip of the iceberg.
I didn't hear your question.
The tip of the iceberg is what you've shared with us today. So as we close, is there anything that you'd like to close with, guys? Because we're gonna get off Facebook, and so you can get on with other things. And they're hearting you up in
oh wow,
Facebook. They're telling you that they love you. Dr. Delise says love, and thank you, ladies. So good stuff.
Thank you. The one thing I just want to encourage you is that, don't be afraid to face the ugly truth. The ugly, someone says, there's a friend of mine that says, your ugliest ugly is the freedom tool for somebody who can't get back to their beauty. Don't be afraid of the ugly truth. Not only will facing it free you up, but it will become the tool with which that you are able to serve another. So
yeah,
do your work.
do the work, and get yourself free. Get yourself free. Love you guys. Take care. We will see you next Monday night at 8:30 p.m. I asked that personally that you just continue to hold a space of prayer for our family as we will, next weekend is when we're going to celebrate the transition of my mother. And so just hold as we're going through, it's kind of surreal. It's, just, and it's just surreal, guys. And so, but so while we're sad, we also have great joy. And so just hold a space for us in prayer. We thank you so much for your love, your well wishes. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I will see you next Monday night because I'm committed, because you know what? No matter what, that's how I was brought up. My mom would say, no, you made a commitment, you keep your commitment. So we'll see you next. And you guys never know who the next guest is going to be, right? So any subject you'd like to discuss, make sure you hit me up and let me know. God bless you. Have a wonderful evening and a great week. Bye-bye. Bye, Zina.
Thank you again. Thank you.